of the patriarchs, all right? And yet he talks about Leviathan, and what we're going to find out later in the book is that Leviathan is described. And when Leviathan is described, it's going to sound like a dinosaur. And so God, not God, but Job is saying, you know, who is prepared to rouse Leviathan? In other words, why would you ever want to stir, if there was a sleeping dinosaur, maybe there should be a phrase that says, let sleeping dinosaurs sleep, you know. But the point is, it's an interesting passage because it brings up this concept. Now let me tell you, and that is this. I tried to bring up this idea. I know that there are still many here who are not really comfortable with the concept of a young Earth. And so some are you're still working through that, and I'm one who tends to think it makes sense. It just makes sense from so many perspectives. However, the world out there ridicules Christians for that concept. Because we all know that the dinosaurs died how many years ago?
Billions of years.
Yeah, 65 million, because that's when the meteor landed in the Yucatan Valley and that caused everything. You know, that's the near theory right now, is that there's that huge crater in the Yucatan Valley there seems to be a crater at least, and so they surmised that was that long ago when the dinosaurs went extinct, and so man never lived with the dinosaurs. I mean, that's, except in the Flintstones, that's the only place where that might have happened in our experience. Well, there are other facts which are not brought out, and those other facts talk about the idea that we did coexist with dinosaurs. In fact, there may be some living now. They have been there's been some. There's reports of sightings of seagoing captains hundreds of years ago. Even in our current time, there is a huge swamp in the Congo, and this swamp is what did I hear? It's the size of the state of Illinois. I think that's what I heard. It's like it's a huge swamp, and it's 80% unexplored. And the natives that are there will point to pictures of a plesiosaurus and say, "Oh yeah, we've seen that." And they have a name for this guy. That this animal has been sighted in that swamp. And you know, you got the pictures too of Loch Ness and all that, or the ideas of Loch Ness, and whether that is true or not, I don't know. But there are these sightings of what could be things that we would consider dinosaurs. And here's the interesting thing, and that is throughout history, there are reports from different cultures, especially, I mean, even Marco Polo. The writings of Marco Polo said that there was one of the kings in China was raising, not dinosaurs, because that word really wasn't invented until about the 1850s, but there was another word that in fact it's used 32 times in Scripture, and it's used in extra-biblical literature to describe these animals. Do you remember what that word is, for those of you who listen to the tapes? Dragons. All right? It talks about dragons, and so Marco Polo comes back and writes that there was a Chinese king, and he was raising dragons to pull his chariot. All right? Why would Marco Polo write something like that? Except maybe because there was a Chinese king raising dragons to pull his chariots. Maybe that was the case. There's all kinds of artwork in caves that show man and dinosaurs together. Who was saying what? Yes, Dave.
You can train dinosaurs.
Apparently, didn't really know that.
Domesticated dinosaurs.
There you go. I mean, so well, you could in the Flintstones.
I saw a documentary on. I saw a documentary on TV probably 3 years ago where they had sighted a small herd of woolly mammoths in Alaska.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't, you know, I got to consider the source.
There you go. And Sarah could see them from her window.
Yes, that's right. Flies over them.
All right. So listen, I know this is new for you, and I know that many of you did not take advantage of watching or listening to, no, actually watching those DVDs. All right. So how many of you are just not sure about this idea? Because I was able this morning, when I thought about it, I made 6 copies of the Dr. Hovind thing on dinosaurs and the Bible. I have 6 copies, all right? This, and what he talks about is example after example from written history where people have reported seeing them, where you want some other evidence. I got 6. Anybody want one? There you go. You pass them out. All right. Now you have to smile really nice at Roxanne, or she won't give you one. All right. So that's. So watch this. This is really amazing, and don't bring it back to me. Pass it on to somebody else when after you've watched it. It's incredible. But this is not the stuff that is taught. Why isn't it taught? Because the scientists will say, well, obviously this is not true because we know that dinosaurs went extinct millions of years before man appeared. So obviously when they see artwork and they have descriptions of dinosaurs being killed by guys, they have the pictures of a dinosaur with his head lopped, they have these drawings in caves. Well, obviously that really didn't happen ever because dinosaurs didn't exist with man. Yes? Oh, yeah, interesting. There were that's another. Again, we'll get into the alien, but we won't make a big deal of it. We'll only make a little deal of it. But yeah,
I'd like to know if someone, after watching, because I watched that 17 hours.
You watched all 17 hours,
yeah.
All right?
And it's compelling. But I'd like to know if somebody watches it and is convinced.
Well,
because it's compelling, but
until you see a dinosaur yourself.
I'm kind of looks like UFOs.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Aliens,
All right. Well, keep your mind open. Keep your mind open. Yes.
You stand real close to an elephant, it pretty much looks like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Except drinking again.
Well, no, but it's true, and so what it's describing is that Leviathan that is being described, or Behemoth, that's another dinosaur, and so what happens? I mean, that's what biblical people. In fact, some of them in the translations of the Bible, they'll even say, consider the elephant. His size is in his belly. His legs are sturdy and strong, and then it describes his tail. His tail is like a cedar. That ain't an elephant.
It's a twig.
Yeah.
What about those great big alligators that they find every now and then that are 16 to 20 and...
Yeah, they've in this swamp, the natives have reported seeing alligators 50 feet long. 50 feet long, I mean, huge ones. Here's the point, and that is, it's no big deal. I mean, this is like, reptiles continue to grow, and so when man, before the flood, when man was living for 900 years, we stopped growing after a while, except actually the bones in our forehead don't stop growing. That's the interesting thing. When the older you would get, this part of your head continues to grow, and so.
I thought that was your hair receding.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's part of it. And so sometimes when they look at the Neanderthals and whatever, they think it's a different species. Well, it could just be like a 600, 700, 800-year-old man. That's what it could be. But the point is that we stop growing. But reptiles don't. They just keep on getting bigger and bigger and bigger as long as they could. So anyway, yeah, okay. I'm convinced.
Okay.
I mean, I'm convinced. I think it was compelling because I think it makes sense with time. Yes? Who asked?
Where is this swamp?
Where's the swamp? It's in what they used to call Belgian Congo. And where is that in reference to Kenya? It's to the west.
West. It's in the middle of the country, isn't it?
Okay, so Kenya is kind of here. This part of it's towards the rift. It's on that side. It's on the Kenya is on the east side, New York, and then the Congo is kind of in the middle, like Nevada.
Kenya's right at the top of the Rift Valley.
Yeah, right at the top of the same valley, by the way, that goes all the way up into through the Dead Sea. That's through the Dead Sea, the River Jordan, and that kind of thing. All right. So anyway, oh gracious. So anyway, I'm glad that Leviathan. That's talking about a huge animal. A huge animal that's dangerous. All right. Let's do this last one. It's a short one, so we'll end with this here. Thanks for letting me do this. I just felt total flexibility. I'm not going to do this all the time, but I was just trying to figure out new methods here. New methods of keeping you all awake. Not working, is it, Oscar? Okay. All right. Let's try this one.
Verse 14. Now he has pictured
You skipped
death
13.
here as annihilation.